The following episode is part of our patron-exclusive series of Imp.Tab Unpolished campaigns, which are produced thanks to the generous backing of our patrons. As you might have been able to guess from the name, this episode isn't going to be as polished as the usual episodes we release, but if you end up liking what you hear and you decide you want more, you can get all of our bonus content for only $2 a month at patreon.com/improvtabletop, including the video versions of these unpolished campaigns. Much love and stuff. Now, on with the show. What's shaking, everybody? Welcome to a brand new Imp.Tab Unpolished campaign. We're back with Miceborn, with a campaign that I think we'll call the Mausritter Chronicles, because that is the game that we are playing, is Mausritter. Hey! I am Ned Wilcock, your host and GM, and today I'm joined by... Oh, yes.
Christian Randall. Vermin... Verisimilitude.
Yes.
Connor Wood, Mouse Petter.
Thomas, mousy in general.
I like it.
The mousy man in the corner.
Yeah.
One of these days, when we start an Imp.Tab Unpolished campaign, we'll actually talk before we start recording about what order we're supposed to go. But
that's how unpolished it is. We're giving the people what they want. Unpolished.
Yes. Exactly what is advertised. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, we're playing a game called Mausritter, and this is a very simple, very fun little game that was first introduced to me by Christian back in the day, and then later was highly recommended by our friend Demon Download on the Discord, and I read through it, and I fell in love with it. A little context behind this game. It is what we call an OSR style game, which stands for Old School Revolution, Old School Renaissance, take your pick. These are games that try to kind of capture the feeling, the vibe of original D&D from way, way back in the day. So we're going to see a little bit of dungeon crawling. We're going to see some hex crawling. We're going to see probably some character death at some point in this campaign. Because this is kind of a lethal game, as we will discover as we're going along.
Turns out mice are made out of mice.
Yeah.
Also, it could be a very low-statted game for some of us.
Yes, some of us.
That is okay.
Some of us are especially fragile in this campaign, it turns out.
Not just emotionally.
Yes, physically fragile. Oh, I'm looking at your stats again, and I forgot how bad they are.
Yes. Horrible.
They
Horrible.
are poo-poo.
Yes. So we will, as we go along, we will start to explain the rules of the game as we start getting into it. But first, before we start talking about mechanics and rules, let's talk about story and let's talk about characters. So to introduce this game, this is going to take place broadly within the world that we established for Miceborn during our Fate campaign. But the idea for these Miceborn campaigns is we were looking at all the different possible games we could play that would be thematically appropriate for Miceborn, and eventually we just decided, why don't we play all of them instead of choosing just one? So this is going to be the first of many Imp.Tab Unpolished Miceborn campaigns, hopefully. And with each of these different systems we're using, there are different mechanics that we want to highlight. And so each of these iterations of the Miceborn universe is going to be kind of a splinter universe of kind of the core. So there are some parts of the original Miceborn universe from the Fate campaign that we will hold true to, and other things that we're going to change up a little bit. We're going to mishmash things as we see fit. And so,
our own multiverse.
Yes. In this particular iteration of Miceborn, we're going to start with kind of the broad idea of, like we said, there's some weird event that happens. Suddenly, you can use cheese to make magic happen, and nobody knows quite why that happened. And we're going to begin this campaign in a principality called Toothydell. Oh, come on.
Oh, I love it!
All right, there we go.
Oh, I love that hex.
Yes.
Look at that.
That's beautiful.
So
Enhanced.
this is our watchers after the fact. This probably isn't going to be super large or high def for you, unfortunately, but I can share this image on our Patreon, on our Discord and whatnot, so you can take a closer look at it. This is the way that you kind of build campaigns in Mausritter. Is we have this hex crawl system, this principality that we have set up, And there are 19 different hexes on here that each has something interesting going on with it. And we're starting smack dab in the center in a little village called Milchstadt. And for those who aren't learning German, just Milchstadt, we can call it that. But yeah, a little bit of the history that we've come up with for the Principality of Toothydell. It is this nice little vale, this little dell to the south of the Kurd mountain range. And it lies along a trade route. There's a little pass through the mountains at the very northern tip of Toothydell, and that is the only way to get into the Principality from the northern areas. And somebody did come in through that mountain pass. A terrible cat lord known as the Lord Mewler has begun to expand his reach further south into Toothydell, with the goal of kind of taking over all of the cheese production in the entire Principality. That's something that Toothydell has been well known for, is it produces very good cheese. Now the Lord Mewler is coming in saying, nope, that's all going to be mine. I'm going to subjugate everything, and is starting to, from the north, start expanding southward. So we can see right here, the very northernmost hex, that is the Lord Mewler's hideout, which is known as the Vats of Cassine, where all of his evil milk production is taking place. Those of our listeners who are familiar with Miceborn lore are probably enjoying this more than people who aren't.
Assume everything you hear is a pun.
They're
because
great.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, casein is a protein that exists in cheese. So yes, the puns are coming hot and fast in this campaign. Just like the molten lava that flows out of Mount Queso down to the south, for example. The volcanic home of the Badger Lords. But yeah, getting back to kind of the state of the world as we see it. There is this road that goes all the way down the center through the Principality from the Vats of Cassine. There's a little bit of a no man's land south of that, and then we get to Milchstadt, which is where you are going to start. This is a former resort village that is now kind of like the last bastion of defense against the Lord Mewler's encroaching towards the south, because further south from Milchstadt is Jarlsberg, the sort of political and cultural hotbed of the Principality of Toothydell. And if Lord Mewler manages to get there, bad stuff is going to happen. So the three of our heroes are currently holed up in the middle of Milchstadt, and we're going to kind of, before we get too much further into the other stuff going on the map here, we're going to zoom in on Milchstadt and start to get a sense of who our heroes are. And we begin in a building that has, unfortunately, not seen much use since the lockdown happened. A big stockade was built up all around Milchstadt, big sharpened logs sticking up through fortified earthen walls, and every able-bodied mouse and porcupine and squirrel has had to take up arms in defense of the city. And so the library, unfortunately, hasn't been seeing a lot of patronage these days, which is probably a little bit to the chagrin of our first character, Dross Longwind. Connor, would you introduce us to Dross Longwind?
Yeah, Dross Longwind is still at heart, was formerly a librarian. He has a birth sign of storm. you know how that goes. White coat with solid colors. He's got a silky coat, very soft. This mouse, does not go outside much, rather stays inside with his books. He is not very strong. He is a decent amount dexterous as a mouse can hope to be, and has a decent amount of will. What that means, I don't know.
Yeah. We're going to figure out as we go through this campaign more about what those stats indicate. So yeah, there are some really fun character creation rules that we've kind of alluded to here. Making a character in this game is very fast, because if your character dies in the middle of a session, you need to make a new character.
Yeah.
So talking about like your birth sign, for example, the sign of the storm means that you are generous and maybe a little bit wrathful. But yeah, Dross Longwind, you are hanging out in the library. There's a little bit of a lull. The Lord Mewler hasn't sent forces down to try and attack you in a while, so you've got a bit of a moment of peace and quiet here in the library. And so you've got a little moment of respite, but in your heart you know that as a member of the resistance against the Lord Mewler, it's only a matter of time before you're going to need to get back out there. What do you think was kind of your first introduction to this resistance that is being built up to defend the principality?
I would say in a lot of ways people would look to a library or any sort of like public building as a bastion or maybe a sign of refuge, especially if this was once like a bustling place. So it's natural that this can become kind of like either a meeting point and or last resort sort of blockade for whatever sort of resistance. I think there may be some hiding little nooks and crannies around the library as well.
Some secret passages and whatnot. So, various people from across the principality, from all corners, have been gathering here in the library as a central kind of meeting hub. And as you are kind of taking a moment to relax, what does this relaxing moment look like for Dross here in the library?
I'd say he was trying to warm up some tea, but it was a little too afraid to get like close enough to the fire, so it's lukewarm, like it's just past room temperature. So he's sipping on some tea. Most books have been either destroyed or used like for fire. They're not in good shape, but those that remain are probably in a pile, and he may just be reading some and trying to get his thoughts collected as to what the next steps are as far as, furthering the rebellion.
Yeah, and you look up every so often across the various stalls, and there are tables that are set up in various kind of openings, various sort of open areas in the library where people are trying to get a moment of peace. And off towards one side, there's a couple of new folks, a couple drifters who have come into town. And they are stationed at the gambling table. There's kind of a bit of, everybody is trying to find whatever entertainment they can, and that's kind of centered in the library. So you've got, like, on one side, there's people who are putting on performances. There's music, there's theater, that kind of stuff. And over on this other side, there's people playing games. And there's been kind of a gambling racket that's been cropping up here in the library, and two new folks have just showed up, two people that you haven't seen before at the gambling table. And I think let's pass over to those two real quick, because there's a few regulars who are still here, but they have been joined by a couple individuals who are maybe at sort of opposite ends of the dignity spectrum. Let's start with the more dignified of the two. Christian, could you introduce us to Miles Turkic?
Miles Turkic, a little hedgehog. Moon birth sign, obviously. Such a moon birth sign.
Wise and mysterious.
Wise and mysterious. Naturally, very white and like almost albinos, very pale, but not the red eyes. I do dye my quills black,
Mm-hmm.
The gentleman wants to look young.
Keeping up appearances.
Yeah, and I wear a nice hat, and I carry, a decent walking cane with me, more for fashion than for function. I don't necessarily need it. I'm older, but I'm not requiring a cane quite yet. But yeah, Miles Turkic is just sort of nose twitching, little clawed hands shaking a pair of dice and throwing them on the table every now and then. And you do see he has a little monocle he keeps up on his eye that is made of cheese.
Yes, one of those little baby bell wheels that has had the center carved out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Miles, you are this is maybe a bit of a different situation, just sort of socially standing than you're used to. You are a person who presumably comes from some degree of nobility, I would imagine.
Yeah, I I come from before the Lord Mewler came. I was definitely in a much more comfortable position. I come from down south a little bit. I'm more used to the cultural epicenter and the places of learning, which is why I came to the library once I got here.
Mm-hmm. And what was your introduction to the Resistance?
Well, once I realized that there was gains to be made, I decided to grasp onto the situation at hand. Anytime there's turmoil or uncertainty, the land is ripe for picking if you make the right moves.
So this is more a motivation of opportunism than one of altruism, you might say.
Yep. He's here to ensure that when things all come crumbling down, they fall in his favor.
Yes, because things certainly are crumbling down back in Jarlsberg. In fact, as you departed from the city, there was rumors of an imminent coup that was going to be happening against the king there. So maybe a good time to get out of town if you're a member of the nobility.
Mm-hmm.
And sitting across from you as you're shaking these dice in your little claws is... Oh man, what a wretched looking soul. Thomas, could you introduce us to Simon Buckthorn?
Yeah, I'm Simon Buckthorn. His birth sign is a star, which means he's brave but also reckless. You honestly wouldn't know though that he was brave or reckless because he's got like a really as Ned described, a complete opposite end of the spectrum there from nobility and like putting his stuff together. He's kind of like hunched down. He's kind of like scratching his neck. He's got like a tan coat, a mouse, and he's kind of like wringing his hands every so often, and like, and his presence is really off-putting because his eyes are just straight black, just night black eyes. To contrast with the tan fur coat that he's got on, and he's got like ratty clothes on, just kind of stuff that doesn't go together, but he's kind of picked up over the years that just, I imagine like people who are like, well, this is my lucky coat, but this is also my lucky pants, and this is my lucky sock, and this is my lucky vest, but they're all just like, don't go together at all. So he really stands out as a result. And he's kind of like shifting back and forth. He's got his own dice that he's kind of shaking in his hand. And like one of them he like twirls to the back of his hand before he like catches it again. And he's just always looking around, always got like shifty eyes, kind of looking at whoever approaches, but is engaged with Miles with their... brief history, but their history together. And he just kind of whispers under his breath and be like, I tell you, Miles, you really think we're going to get anything out of here? You think we're going to be able to grab people to help us out?
Oh, Simon, I'm positive we'll be able to come out on top. I wouldn't put it past us. We're a couple of lucky fellows. We've made it this far, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, whatever you say, Miles. I just want to make sure my pop doesn't have to come down here,
Oh, well, we wouldn't want that. No, I had a quick question, just apropos of nothing. You are a mouse, not a rat, right? Because you've got a bit of a rat look about you.
Well, I take that as a kind of compliment, but
oh yes, it was intended as one for sure.
The rats, my mother was the rat side's from my mother's side,
I see.
My father, he's where I get all my mouse from, and
of course, yes, I believe I have a porcupine somewhere in my lineage, so I understand.
Mixed blood and all that.
Of course.
Yeah, this is fine talking about genealogy and all, but we have a game going on here.
Of course. Now, what I need is a pair of snake eyes. Let's see if I can do that.
Yeah, so both of these two characters, as we rolled for our characters, you get a background, and both of you got the gambler background. And one thing that's interesting about being a gambler is you start with a set of loaded dice. So each of you has a set of loaded dice here at this gambling table. I'm going to just kind of roll up a couple NPCs here for us real quick to see who you're playing against. We have one very old-looking mouse who's definitely past his prime. He's got very long, droopy whiskers. And you see another one who is almost kind of Nordic stock. It is a sea otter looking, just braided beard, braided mustache coming down. Probably came in from the sea off to the west side of Toothydell.
Yeah.
Because Toothydell is a coastal principality as well.
From Crab Island? Crab Island, you think?
Yeah, so we do have Crab Island is one of the locations here on the Hex Crawl. Guess what lives there?
I love that description. Guess what lives here?
Yeah.
An island.
Yeah, so we're each going to we're going to first let's place some bets. You each have a decent amount of pips. A pip is the unit of currency in Mausritter. And so let's start by just anteing up. How many pips do we feel like is a good ante for this game of dice?
Yeah, well, we're still a little bit early here, so I'm going to throw 3 pips in and see if I get any takers.
Absolutely. I'll match the 3.
All right, the older gentleman, 3 pips. Starting, such weak sauce. And he tosses in 3 pips, and the sea otter goes, I'll take these 3 pips that I scrounged from the body of my dead comrade as he fell through the waves. And he tosses 3 pips into the center.
Nice.
All right, so now we're going to roll, and I think I don't actually know the rules for craps, so we're just going to make up a game here on the fly as we go. Now, Miles, you said you wanted snake eyes, and
yes, and I would like to not use my loaded dice.
oh,
I'd like to use
interesting.
tables dice.
Okay, so I think let's talk about. I have just a general idea in my mind about the odds of rolling. So, like a 7 on 2d6, that is the most average result that you're going to get. So, I think the further away from 7 you get, the higher of a return on investment you're going to get for your betting here. So, if you bet that you want to get a 7, you're basically just trying to get your money back. But each step away from 7, from 2 all the way up to 12, we're going to multiply by how many steps away it is. So choose what you're going to shoot for, and then whoever ends up getting closest to the result that they said they wanted to get is the one who will be the winner here.
Well, I did say snake eyes.
You did say snake eyes, so high risk, high reward. Now that we've kind of established the rules, I'll let you alter your bet if you would like to.
You know what? I'll keep it.
All right. And you're not using your loaded dice, so you won't get to roll these d6s with advantage.
I would like to actually go ahead and adjust my monocle and kind of squeeze it in there, and I would like to actually roll with disadvantage.
Yes. So this is where we are going to begin introducing some of the Miceborn aspects of the game. So this game, as written, obviously doesn't include allomancy or feruchemy or anything in it. So I've been working with Christian to come up with a special ability for him. So for those who are unfamiliar with Miceborn, they have magic that is based off of the use of metals. There are people called allomancers who, if they consume metals, they can, quote-unquote, burn those metals to manifest magical effects around them. Maybe you'll be able to push metal away from you or pull it towards you. Maybe you'll be able to increase your bodily strength or impact the emotions of the people around you. But there are other types of people who can use metal known as feruchemy, which is a matter of storing traits in metal. So if you've got a piece of copper that you wear on your wrist, you can store knowledge in that. That's correct, right? Copper mines are the ones that you store knowledge
correct.
inside?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you
Hence
have
the
to,
wiki's name.
Yeah, but in order to store a trait such as knowledge or such as strength in one of these metal mines, you have to spend some time being the opposite of that. So if you're storing up strength, you have to spend some time being very weak beforehand. And so the way that we are sort of flavoring this Baby Bell monocle you've got here is you can store luck in this monocle. And that is based off of chromium, I believe, is the metal that does that in Miceborn.
I do believe so. I might have to look at the Allomancy and Ferricamy charts.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
Nice. And so the idea here is that in order to store luck in this monocle, he has to spend time being unlucky. So you're going to roll with disadvantage on this gambling roll to, in turn, later store up a bit of luck that you can use in the future to roll with advantage down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have you roll 4d6 and take the 2 results that are furthest from Snake Eyes.
Okay. So furthest from 1.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. That first one was a 5, and the second one was a 6.
We're off to a great start.
Nice.
Next one's a 2, and the next one's a 5. So I'm going to say the 5 and the 6 are the 2 furthest away.
Slam dunk.
I only bet 3, but I feel like I somehow lost more money than that.
Just your pride on purpose.
So you're only going to lose 3 pips, but you do gain 1 charge of luck in your monocle that you can use at a later point.
Nice.
Now, Simon, what do you want to shoot for?
I want to go somewhat middle of the road. I want to get 5.
All
and
right.
by the way, it is chromium.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, so are you going to use your loaded dice or just regular dice?
Oh, absolutely use my loaded dice.
All right. So roll.
No doubt about it.
Roll 4d6 and choose the 2 results that are going to get you closest to 5.
Hiya! 2 and a 3. Boom, let's go.
All right.
There you go, right off the bat.
On the money.
I rolled a 2, a 2, a 2, and a 3.
Perfect. All right. The long-whiskered gentleman is going to say, a 5. Okay, I think we can make that happen. He also bets 5, and he gets a 5 and a 3, so pretty far. And the sea otter goes, I can get Snake Eyes, just watch this, no big deal. And he rolls a 2 and a 3, so he gets a 5.
That's pretty good. He's pretty close, though.
Yeah. So I believe that means, Simon, you're going to take the pot on this one.
Ah, great, yeah, good, yeah, bring it on over. Yeah, push it on over. Okay.
Do you need help counting?
No, I got it.
All
Just
right.
everything on the table, right? Yeah, okay, here we go.
Yes.
And it's just both arms.
Pulls it all.
Put in
Now-
like a little fat pouch that I have, like my actual fat.
Great. Love it. Now, Dross, you've been kind of watching this gambling taking place across the way, and you are also a lactomancer, so I think you are kind of familiar with the lactic arts when you see them. And looking across the way, you notice, hey, this guy over here, he's doing some stuff over at the gambling table. This is a kindred spirit of sorts.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to go over and say, hello. Hello, fellow woodland creatures. Hope you're all having a nice day. Couldn't help but notice there's a little bit of cheesing going on over here, and
Cheesing going on.
I don't know what to call it.
The
In
sea
addition to
otter,
the gambling.
Yeah, the sea otter at this point goes, "You've completely ruined the mood. You're as lukewarm as the tea you drink." And he gets up and he just
No.
storms off from the table.
Oh man. Well, anyway.
Hey,
that's no less, but
that's no way to treat our host here, okay? The guy
My
who's
friend.
kind of like in charge of the building, right?
yeah. I mean, I work here, so yeah, kind of.
I put an arm around this small white mouse, and I kind of pull him a little away from the group so that the others. I mean, I'm Simon can definitely hear, but I want to pull him away from the other mouse.
The
No,
NPC
I'm
looking guys.
I'm sure I misheard you, but you wouldn't have been accusing us of cheating, would you?
Well, no, not you, but the other guy.
Oh.
It just
I look over at the half rat, half mouse in the corner, kind of just scratching himself.
Yeah, he looks incredibly suspicious, but I don't really care about the cheating. You guys are rowdy, right?
I have been known to be rowdy in the past. Simon,
ha.
come this way.
All right, cool.
Are you rowdy? Because you guys look and feel incredibly rowdy. This is a good thing for me.
I mean, we've been known to. It depends on how you define rowdy, but if we're gonna cut to the chase, I've been known to. Yeah.
That's great. Well, my name is Dross. I'm a part of the rebellion, but I haven't had the guts to do anything about that yet. So I'm trying to get a group of rowdy woodland creatures to do things about it. You know, rebel things.
Oh, okay. You saying that you're ready to take kind of eyeing Miles, maybe ready to take some action, ready to take part in maybe some risk, huh? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I haven't really left the library in quite a while in this town and even longer, but yes, I think I am ready to take a risk. I think I'm ready to do something that matters.
And I give Simon a wink, and I put my arm around Dross again, and I kind of pull him out just to overlook the window, so we can see out and look at the city.
Well, Dross, my friend, my name is Miles Turkic, and this is my friend Simon Buckthorn. And if you're looking for a couple of rowdy woodland animals, why, I think you found just the pair to get you out of this monastery and into the world. If you want to see real change, starts right here. And I poke him in the chest.
Yeah.
Okay. Real change. I like that. I hope we can really ruin things for that big, scary cat. I really do not like that animal.
I've known some very kind cats over the years, but this particular one, yes, I agree, he is rather odiferous.
Yeah, he's a pig.
Mind you, I've known some good pigs as well, but that's neither here nor there.
And you, as you're looking out over the city, you see a little javelina who's kind of trotting his way towards the library. And Dross, this is a javelina you recognize. A sort of elderly individual, gray throughout the fur, wearing a large floppy hat with a bit of a pointy tip, kind of a beard going down, walking forward with a staff. You have spoken with this individual before about the resistance, and he is once again here in Milchstadt after having gone out to gather some information.
And for our viewers who don't know what a javelina is, like me, it's not a pig, and it's not a rodent, but it's kind of in between the two.
Yeah, in terms of phylogeny, it is definitely more closely related to a pig than to a rodent, but it's a little pig. You've known some good pigs throughout the years.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of pigs, that javelina looks quite familiar. I think we should talk to it. Come on, my new rowdy compañeros.
Ooh, how exotic.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you can tone it down a tiny bit, but.
Yeah, as you head over to the door of the library, you kind of creak it open at about the time that this javelina is walking past, and it looks towards you and tips its hat, and he says, the weather is very milky today, wouldn't you agree?
Yes. And
I look out and there's just like a haze out of the window. Yeah.
Well, my good friend here, Dross, mentioned that you two had spoken. I'm new to town. My name is Miles Turkic, and this is my companion, Simon Buckthorn.
That explains why you did not recognize my code phrase. Yes, come with me.
It had the ring of one. Could you tell us what the proper response is? I'd hate to be caught unawares in the future.
The response is, yes, I love a glass of warm milk in the morning.
Yes.
I was going to say that.
A glass of warm milk in the morning.
But you are friends of Dross, then surely you are friends of the rebellion. Come join me. And he begins walking towards, just kind of really ambling his way decrepitly towards this little shack, kind of this outbuilding of the library. And he taps it a couple times with his staff, and a smaller door opens up inside of the bigger door, and he puts his mouth up to the door and says, "Rather milky weather we're having today, aren't we?"
There's only the one. You may want to develop some more passphrases. If the one... That's neither here nor there, not my place.
Yeah, I'd like a warm drink of milk in the morning, okay.
Perhaps it could be your place. This is honestly very new, so if you have good ideas for how we can sort of improve the structure of our organization, that would be beneficial. Oh, the door creaks open, and
Is this guy okay? Is he hurt? Is he
We're
like
not
visibly
against
bleeding?
criticism if it's constructive.
Every step is a second closer to death for this individual.
The door creaks open, and you go walking through, and as the guard closes the door behind you, it's perfectly silent, and you realize, it wasn't the door creaking as he opened it up. And he just continues creaking his way, and you see that there is a stairwell leading down underneath the library into one of these hidden secret locations that is built into this edifice.
As this is somewhat a secretive meeting, I pull out a pack, like a little box that I've got, and as we're walking down, I'm just kind of like smacking it to kind of like get what's inside to the edge before I reach inside, and I pull out this long, thin piece of mozzarella cheese, and I pop it in my mouth, and I just kind of just start nibbling on it. And I activate my the cheesiest ability, and I start smoke screening us from any allomantic prying eyes.
Yes. So
Nice.
Simon is what we call in the Miceborn parlance a smoker. When he activates his lactomantic ability, it prevents anybody else from being able to detect that there is this sort of magical power going on. So
Through the cheese abilities, through allomancy in the book,
Yeah.
but through.
because there are some individuals who can detect when these abilities are being used, but if you've got your smoker here, then they prevent any of that detection from happening. So you start smoking on your mozzarella stick as you're heading on your way
smoking
down.
very like.
Yeah.
It's just smoked mozzarella, right?
There you go.
Yep. Applewood smoked mozzarella.
Gosh. Oh my.
As we're walking, I do want to ask, what is your name, good sir? Or what should we call you?
You may call me Bones. He continues creaking his way down the hallway.
Very fitting.
We love Bones very much, but don't expect he'll be with the rebellion for much longer.
Someday I shall live up to my namesake.
Someday soon, old friend. Someday soon.
Hopefully not before we are able to overthrow that terrible Lord Mewler up in the north. That is what continues to light the fire within my heart, the idea that someday my people may be free once more.
Hey, you're pretty loose with your mouth there. This must be very new to you about subterfuge, not giving away your plan in a semi-public place. I mean,
We're under the
good
ground,
gracious.
baby.
Yeah. I
Even
trust
still.
you two guys that I just met. Implicitly.
I mean,
So-
it astonishes me, and actually, it's a little bit of a breath of fresh air how much you trust us, just from our rowdy appearance.
And he
That's what I need.
he stops and turns on a dime, and he puts one bony hand up against your chest, Simon. And he says, I see within your eyes, and he pulls you down towards him. I see within your unsettling night black eyes that you have decency in your heart.
And I get a little bit nervous, mainly because he smells like moldy cheese.
Yes, he is. He's been burning some gorgonzola over here. And then he looks over towards Miles and says, I see that this one, well, he's on our side, but he has less than noble intentions, but you... And he peers once again into your night black eyes. You have goodness in your heart, though you do not appear it.
Why? The mozzarella stick starts to fall out before I catch it. Yes, whatever, Bones.
Believe in yourself, child! And he turns away from you and continues going down the hallway.
Oh, I thought he died. I thought he said better than just died.
We have to figure out the mission ourselves.
Yeah,
no quest giver.
He pushes off back from you, and he starts tipping backwards, and in the last moment he catches himself and turns around and continues hobbling down the hallway and opens up a door into a larger chamber on the other side.
Oh my god.
Take heed of Bones' advice, for any words may be his last.
I feel like we should write down every single word he's saying, just in case. It's a prophetic,
some sort of death rattle.
Yeah, like a death rattle from the...
Yes, he opens up the door and he sweeps inside, and you see there's a number of other individuals waiting around a table that has beeswax candles lit atop it, casting flickering shadows across the chamber. And as he enters in, he holds up a hand and he says, my friends, very milky weather we're having today, is it not?
Good gracious. It's so obvious
all in unison say back.
All of them in unison, I love a glass of milk in the morning.
I love a glass of milk in the morning.
And he turns towards the three of you and says, friends, I have brought with me Simon. He is noble, though he doesn't appear it. Don't let his raggedy and wretched appearance fool you.
Good
Don't
seeing
let
you.
his horrible looks.
I know that he looks like the worst of us all, but someday he will save us from the Lord Mewler.
I feel like this is the definition of a backhanded compliment. Not even a compliment, just a backhand, I feel like.
And he just completely ignores you. This one, Miles Turkic, he is okay. This one, Dross, you know him, he's cool.
He is only okay.
Yes.
Simon has big chosen one energy and is like, nah.
Nah, I'm good. I would rather eat cheese.
And Bones reaches into his robe and he pulls out a scroll and unfurls it across the table to gasps of excitement from those who are gathered around you. And he puts down in front of you a map of the Principality of Toothydell, not unlike the one that we have on the screen right now.
Wow.
Yes,
I
those
see
of
your
you...
cartographer is a bumblebee. They're very good at this.
Those of you who are listening to this instead of watching the video version, I'll do my best to make sure I'm describing things in a way that will make sense just auditorially. But again, the map will be visible on the video version, and also hopefully I'll remember to actually post the image of the map somewhere. But yeah, he spreads out the map in front of you and starts to kind of explain to you the lay of the land. Yes, throughout the corners of Toothydell are areas of great importance to us and our cause. And he points first towards the northernmost corner. Here the vats of Cassine, a place to which many of our brethren, many of our friends and allies have been taken when captured by the Lord Mewler. They work in his cheese vats, building up his army as he seeks to create a secret weapon from the forbidden technologies he brought from the north with him. And everybody's just kind of like murmuring, oh, terrible, terrible, terrible. Evil. We hate him. But there are other places throughout the principality. I have heard rumors that may be able to help us. He points towards, kind of going clockwise around the hexagon here. House Raclette. Long a noble family here within the principality, but separated from the nobility of Jarlsberg, the owners of the Zoltsdorf mines. It is rumored that as they have delved deep into the mines, mining for the salt with which we have made our cheeses, that they have found other minerals precious and magical in their abilities. Should we be able to obtain these rare salts, perhaps we can imbue our cheeses with more power. More power. Continuing clockwise around the hex. Here we see the Soil Shrub Abbey, long ago sunken beneath the earth, a monastery once of great repute, but when a terrible earthquake came, brought down below the loam till only the very uppermost reaches were able to be accessible. It is prophesied, or it is rather rumored, that the Soil Shrub monks prophesied the onset of this lactomantic magic, which we now are able to control.
Simon's eyes have definitely started glazing over in the mozzarella. Kind of
You feel a rap on the top of your head from the staff, and he kind of pulls you off to the side and says, "Is this exposition boring? Should I spice it up a little bit?"
I mean, you do what you want, Bones. These are your final minutes, so I mean,
Okay, I'll try to spice it up a little. Yes, you, Turkic, Miles Turkic.
I had a question. Oh, I don't know why I got old. Sorry, I think I might have... Whatever you have might be catching.
Chameleon.
I got the old.
I got the
ugly.
Yes, speak to me, child.
So I'm quite intrigued already about the two things you've said, and the rest of the map looks very well documented. The thing that caught my eye was the carcass to the northwest of us.
Yes, the cow skeleton, that's what that hex is called.
Ooh.
Yes, you see, in the vats of Cassine, the Lord Mewler has captured a number of bovines with which to create the milk from which he makes his cheese. One of them managed to escape and perished not too far from the vats themselves. Its bones lie rotting not far from here.
Well, I do believe if we were able to excavate that area and perhaps retrieve some information to help your rebellion, that may be a very good place to start. Gathering information is one of the very first things to do.
Yes, indeed.
I am a little concerned about the orifice to the northeast of us.
Ah, the pit. Indeed. We still don't know what's down there.
Well, that's
very
horrifying.
descriptive.
Yes, we haven't done much exploration there because it's so far as we know, it seems to be bottomless. I mean, it's got to have a bottom, right? There's no such thing as a literal bottomless pit, right? It's ridiculous.
One way to
But there are
find
no
out.
guards there. No guards there. Nothing from the Lord Mewler around that pit.
Well, you must be careful. For the northernmost here, I'm just gonna like sort of explain. There are 4 territories on this hex that
Wait
are
over here,
currently.
old guy.
Yes. So the 4 northernmost territories on our hex map are currently under the control of the Lord Mewler. That includes the Vats of Cassine, the No Man's Land along the road connecting the Vats to Milchstadt. There is the Salzdorf mines have also been taken over by the Lord Mewler, and House Raclette has been cut off from them. And then also the Way Delta, which is where the Way River coming out of the Kurd Mountains enters into the sea there. So...
And it would be inadvisable for us to go really... Obviously, we can't go to the top one. And it would be inadvisable for us to go straight to one of those 3 touching it.
Yeah, if you end up in a territory that is currently controlled by the Lord Mewler, the chances of random encounters will increase in likeliness and severity.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
So, hitting something like hex number 7, 3... 6 or 4 would be... 5 scares me because that's the big city, right?
It's on the way to the big city that you're from, right?
Oh, 14 is the big
14,
city.
yeah.
14 is Jarlsberg. And then the road, 5, that is the market road between Milchstadt and Jarlsberg. And
I just lost my money, so I don't want to go there.
yeah, the entire road is just lined along both sides with colorful tents and stalls, people hawking their wares. So again, kind of outside the narrative of the story, the way that traditionally you level up in Mausritter is by collecting loot and bringing it back to town. The more loot you connect, the monetary value determines how fast you level up. But I am a fan of narrative leveling up points. So what I would like to test out for this campaign is there are 5 adventure sites that have a circled number. Each of those, if you clear that adventure site, that will level you up.
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the ones that he was kind of starting to explain. The ones that if you complete them, you will level up. Those include House Raclette's Manor, the Soil Shrub Abbey, where there are the monks who supposedly prophesied lactomancy, Jarlsberg, where there is actively a coup that is taking place. There is an insurgent group called the Königsmörder, who are trying to depose the king. It's a group of noble houses who are like, hey, this is the perfect time while everything is in chaos. Now's the time that we can depose the king and take over control of Jarlsberg.
Nice. They get it. They get it.
And Bones is like, but if the king is killed, if the great benevolent king is destroyed, then surely we shall fall to the Lord Mewler. But I'll leave that up to you, whatever you want to do with that. Then the final 2 level up adventure sites, there is Mount Fondue, which is the volcanic home of the Badger Lords, who are known to be incredibly skilled cheesemakers.
Ooh.
And then the final adventure site that you can level up at is the Wreck of the Vermintide, which is the ship that Mustel the Stenchful came into town on.
Ha, cool.
And it is rumored that Mustel the Stenchful brought with him great treasures that went down with his ship.
I heard about that.
Well, as a player, I actually kind of like the idea of treasure finding, especially at the beginning here. And so I saw the skeleton, and I was like, man, what lactomatic treasures could be found from this corpse here. And that's on the way to the Wreck of Vermintide. So,
they're 18, towards 18.
Yeah, so it's 7 then 18 at that point. So
yeah,
maybe we hop on over to 7, get away from Lord Mewler's cat people, and see what treasures we can dig up.
Seems like a good way to kind of map it out.
Yes. And Bones, as you have decided where you want to go, he says, "May the powers of preservation go with you as you seek to embark on this great journey. May you not find ruin as you go." Don't worry about me, I'll be fine. No.
Oh, Bones. Oh, Bones.
Good old Bones. Before we leave, I'm going to pull out... I don't have a sheet of paper because that is another thing we are very clear about what we do and do not have in our bags, and I do not have a sheet of paper. But I will go ahead and I'm assuming they've got paper around this place.
Yeah, we got some loose.
If you want this map, I'm not going to be using it for much longer.
Perfect.
Oh my god.
Horrifying. I'm gonna take the map. I also want to leave them a little like list of like how to run a secret society, and like coming up with better phrases, and
like that,
being mobile, and basically I want to give them a little running a secret society 101.
Nice. All right, so you write them up some notes before you.
It's based very heavily off of a secret society I was a part of in the capital called the Burrow, and so I'm just like, hey, here's a fun handshake, and I just took it from the Burrow.
Nice. Yeah, so that is good to know. You potentially have some allies who, when you finally go to Jarlsberg to get kind of embroiled in this battle between the Königsmörder and the king himself, the Burrow might be able to offer you some assistance when you reach there.
But for now, we head towards the corpse of the cow.
It has been good to meet all of you. I will never see you again, I am sure of it.
Bones.
Probably not.
Bones,
Hey,
you will live.
Oh,
Bones.
You
live on in our memory.
You can't die without seeing the fruits of your labors. I mean, come on, right? Come on, have something to live for. Don't play this martyr. Don't play this martyr when you have nothing to be martyred about.
You fill me with light and determination. I shall live another day at least.
Drink your milk and stay strong.
Strong bones. Strong bones.
You know,
You saved him, guys.
for as often as we say I love a glass of milk in the morning, I don't often drink milk in the morning. Maybe I should give that a try.
Bones!
They're good for
Smack
your
you
bones.
across the head, but
Oh,
Might fall off.
you seek to expedite my ferrying out of this mortal coil?
no. That's why I withheld. Okay,
Oh, damn it,
back away
okay.
from you.
Fine.
No longer, Bones. Hang in there, bud.
Now, my heroes, who will surely see the fruits of my labors long after I have passed on. And he gathers you all together, and he's like got you all kind of in a sports-like huddle. There is great danger ahead of you. I know I stink. You can handle this for just a moment. There is great danger ahead of you, but there are great rewards to be found as well. Majestic treasures. There are cheeses unlike any that have been known to lactomancy yet. People have been discovered to burn cheeses that will do fantastical things that we have not yet seen. Should you find some of these, great will be your benefit moving forward.
I kind of like the sound of that.
I like the sound of it
good
too.
charcuterie.
This one, I like this guy. He looks like a rat, but he's cool.
Okay, all right. Don't appreciate insulting my mother's side, but what the heck? All right.
Good game, folks. And he smacks you on the butt and says, "Get on out there. You're going to save the day."
Squeak.
Good game.
Yeah, I've got my bag all packed. I've got everything I think I need, including 2 mirrors.
Yes.
That's right. You have my mirror.
I have your mirror from session 0.
That's right.
Yes. Well, we will expound more on the mechanics of inventory in this game. But for now, I think now that we have the stage has been laid, we have an idea of where we're going next. We're heading to the wreck of the Vermintide to seek out the treasure left behind by Mustel the Stenchful and pass a big old giant cow skeleton on the way. So what's going to happen next? Let's find out next time in the world of Miceborn, the Mausritter Chronicles. Oh boy. We're off to a good start, folks.
Wowza.
Man, this is interesting.
MVP Bones.
MVP Bones. This is interesting because this is by far the campaign that I've prepared for the most for this podcast. And it's so much more organized than Dumbledore's Delinquents by a vast margin. Oh, man. Well, everybody, I'm excited to see where this takes us, what is going to happen in the Wreck of the Vermintide. But for now, thanks for listening. We'll see you next episode. But I am Ned Wilcock, your host and GM, and I have been joined by...
Christian Randall, lactose intolerant.
Connor Wood, building my tolerance.
Thomas, supposedly a messiah?
Much love and stuff, everybody. We'll catch you next time on Miceborn.